Welcome to Crystal Wellness Studio. I'm Evelyn and I'll be your host today. We wanted to let you know that at Crystal Wellness Studio, we're a Loratone shop for tumblers. We really wish we were getting some sort of kickback for that, but we're not. We just think that they're a really quality product and they're nice and they're quiet. As you can hear in the background, we're tumbling currently 7 barrels, and it's, you hear the barrels, but there's nothing squeaking, there's nothing, really loud that we have to speak over. You can hear me pretty well, at least I hope you can. And we ended up buying a couple more Loratons and they came in today. So we have an additional 33B, which runs 2 3-pound barrels. And then we purchased a 3 1.5, which is the same base as a 33B, but it runs 1.5-pound barrels. And it runs 3 of those on that unit. So here's a tip: if you're trying to find a 3 1.5 and you can't locate one, they're out of stock everywhere, contact Sean at the Rock Shed. Again, not an affiliate, just a really good, reliable vendor. They will use that 33B base and swap out the barrels, with 3 1.5s, and voila, you've got a 3 1.5 tumbler. And they're really tiny, and I think they're so cute. So this is the 1.5 barrel, and here's the 3-pound barrel. They're cute. I think they're tiny. I think they're lovely. That's beside the point. So what we have running in our shop now will be 3 33B units, which gives us 6 barrels. We have 1 45C, which is a 4-pound barrel, and it's a single unit. And then we have the QT66, which is a double 6-pound barrel. And then the new 3 1.5 system, which has 3 1.5-pound barrels. So that's going to give us a total of 12 barrels, which kind of makes us a little obsessive. And I'm okay with that. We truly do not have any room for any more tumblers in our studio, so we're maxed out. And I have to keep telling myself, we are now maxed out. We have a ton of stone, which you've seen some of the unboxing videos, and if not, I'll have a link in the description of a lot of the vendors that we were purchasing from, some from eBay, some from like Kingsley North and the Rock Shed, Stonebridge. There's a few others in there, Gems by Mail. There's another one that's very similar to Gems by Mail. But yeah, so a lot of really good vendors. We've been really pretty 99% happy with everybody. I would say my takeaway from some of these vendors is I wish they would actually label the individual product. Some do, some don't. So that, you got to be really cognizant of what you're ordering, because if you order 4 or 5 things, all the same basic color scheme and patterns, you're going to have a double of the time trying to figure out what you ordered. At least I did. So anyway, they're all marked now. We know what we have. Some of the best things to run when you're a new rock tumbler is a Jasper. While they take a long time, they shine up almost like glass. They are so satisfying when you're finished, because you have such a lovely shiny product when you're done. Agates are also a MOHS hardness 7, which any of the stones that are at MOHS 7 runs pretty well. They're very forgiving stones. If you make a mistake and lose something in one of the grit stages too long, it's not going to be as bad as if it was a soft stone that would probably grind away to nothing. The grits that I use, I get from the Rock Shed. I get a lot of stuff from the Rock Shed, just frankly because they are so good to deal with, and they're fast in their shipping, and they're pretty cool about adjusting your shipping charges to combine, you know, if you buy several things, they'll combine your shipping. And then they find the cheapest way to ship it, and that's what you get charged. They don't just nail you with, you know, expensive shipping. And that's awesome. They're a pretty ethical company to deal with. At least so far. You know, I've been very, very pleased with them. Again, no affiliates with any of the vendors that I mentioned. All of this information is based on my personal research, personal recommendations, and my actual usage. So take it for what that is. The problem we have today, love these problems, is that we have 5 barrels to fill. So what do we want to put in them? I have just so much to choose from that I'm going to do the choosing off camera, so you're not sitting here looking at that air. We'll be back shortly, and I hope you're enjoying these videos, and if you are, hit the subscribe button. If you have any comments, I would love to hear them, because I do really like your feedback, even if it's negative, because it's a learning experience for me. So if you've got recommendations for something, if you've got comments about something, if you have questions about something, I will definitely answer them. And we may even run a video series about most asked questions. So yeah, think about what you want to do, put it in the comments, and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, we are back with Peach Aventurine. We got this from Hypnotic Gems on eBay. And it is a MOHS hardness 7, which means we'll have a pretty good time with it. Let's see. This is the rough stage, and it's really very pretty. Hope you can see that. Tiny bit of host rock here. And we have different sizes, you know, so that they help tumble together. Now, this is just lovely. I think the color of this is gorgeous. And the quality of this rough is pretty good. It's pretty clean. And of course it's wet right now. But some of the rough we get is there's a lot of host rock, and this is very, very minimal host rock. So I like that. Good job, Hypnotic Gems. It's really pretty. Oh, it's kind of a thin one, which is nice. So this is 2 pounds of rock. We're gonna see if it actually fits in our 3-pound barrel. I mean, logically you would think, oh, of course it will, but the size of the stones, the airspace, everything that goes with it, because you only want to fill your barrel 2/3 full, which is, 2 pounds would be 2/3. So let's just dump it all in here, and I'll show you how this is not going to work. We're full. This is not 2/3, this is completely full. So we're going to have to remove stone in order to get tumbling action. So this is how we always end up with extras, which we'll end up doing small batches of in the future. This rock right here is about 2/3. So we might be all right with what's in here. I want to remove that little chip. Again, chips, chips, chips. Okay, so we're going to put in our coarse media. And I'm going to do 3 tablespoons. So, about the experiment that I'm doing with the grit. A lot of the videos I've been watching and the recommendations from the manufacturer and things like that, and then even from the vendors, have their own opinions on how much grit to use. We have some go by the weight of the stone, and then I think that that's an incorrect measurement, because unless you're counting any ceramic media that you put in here, you're going to have an inaccurate reading. So I would say if you're going to go by the weight, then go by the weight of stone and ceramic media together. The other measurement that's common is they take the capacity of the barrel and they do that many tablespoons. So if this is a 3-pound barrel, they would use 3 tablespoons of grit. I'm kind of liking that ratio. Yet others will say you're going to want to use 1 ounce of grit per pound of barrel capacity. Well, 2 tablespoons is 1 ounce, and that gives us 6 tablespoons of grit, and that's far too much. And the reason I say it's far too much is because every week when I rinse these barrels, there's a lot of grit getting washed down the drain. So a lot of grit is getting wasted. And before you ask, no, you cannot reuse the grit. So I'm just going to put 3 in. I like the even ratio of 1 tablespoon to capacity of barrel. So I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of 60/90 grit. Then I'm going to add, because it's a first run, of course, I'm going to add some baking soda. And the reason I add baking soda, and I add about a 1/2 tablespoon, because 1 tablespoon was too much. So about a 1/2 tablespoon of baking soda to help with the gases, the stone and the silica, the carbide, silicone carbide grit, and the rocks and the slurry from the rocks and everything, it kind of creates gases. And so the baking soda helps lower that and prevent that, so that we are not having barrels that burst or bubble up. And when a barrel bursts, it just means a leakage. The cap pops off, and we want to avoid that because it's really messy. And I did have one of those in the very beginning. And now we're just going to add water. Let me get some water. I'll be right back. And we're back with the water. So I've been adding too much water, even though it's been, on the recommendations of everyone else. All the other videos I've been watching where it says to add to the bottom of the top layer of rock. Well, it makes for a very runny slurry, and we want our slurries to be a little thicker. The problem with a runny slurry is that the rocks just swim around, and they don't really, they're just swimming around. They're really not knocking against each other. They're really not, the grit is just floating instead of grinding. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit less water. I mean, you can see it's really still to the bottom of the top layer, but it's a tiny bit less. We want to just have a thicker slurry. So maybe that will help with the usage of the grit, and it will maybe shorten the process of how long it takes in this stage, because it's actually doing its job instead of getting washed down the sink. So it's an adjustment period, and you have to see what works for you. I would always start with the most common of the recommendations from all of the videos that you're watching, and kind of start from there and then adjust and tweak to your process. So I'm just rolling the barrel, make sure there's no leakage, and there's not. And now we have to mark the barrel. And because we're running 12 barrels, we need to know what we're putting in in there. So this is Peach Aventurine. It was Aventurine, wasn't it? Not Quartz. Aventurine, okay. Peach Aventurine. It's going into 60-90 grit. Today is the 20th. Today is the 21st. I don't know why I have such a problem with the dates. So I just add this to the barrel. Oops. Doesn't matter if it goes on the top or bottom. I was labeling the barrels with numbers, but now that we have so many, that's just asinine. I mean, it's just ridiculous to do that. We can just put it here. So, because sometimes we end up moving them from to another barrel if the mass has been reduced by the grit and we need to combine it with another one. I mean, then all the barrel numbers get screwed up. So the barrel numbers was a nice idea in theory. It just doesn't work in practicality. So this barrel is ready to run. So we'll put it on our tumbler. And it's ready to go. Now we have one more, and we'll be back in just a minute. And we'll see what's going to go into this one. Okay, we are back with white quartz, and we're going to put it in one of our baby barrels, the 1.5 pound barrels. And this is really beautiful. This is from Kingsley North. Looks really nice. So I like the points, and the way that it comes like this, but I just want it smoothed out some. And I'm really nervous with this because I haven't done this type of quartz before, and I don't want to ruin all the points, but I do want it rounded. I want some of the sharpness to gone. I want some of this rough to smooth out. So we're going to see, and this is only 1 pound of it, so we're going to see how much actually holds in our barrel. That's a really big piece for this tiny barrel. That one's really nice too. I like how clear. I love these windows. I really don't want those windows screwed up. Now we're going to see what happens. It looks like all of it will fit. And we have a couple little clear chips in here. But those I'm not going to save. So we'll get rid of those. Okay. This is fitting perfectly. But because I want to not damage it too much. Alright, let's put the grit in. So this is a 1.5 pound, so I'm going to put 1.5 of the 60, 90. That's one. And that's about half. I'll put a little baking soda. Again, because this is the first time we're running it. After we run it, I'm only going to put like half. After we put baking soda in the first initial round of this stage, I don't have to put it in anymore. So this is good enough. So just a little bit of water. So I'm going to try another experiment. So I've been using the small and large ceramic media for cushioning, but because I really want to protect this, I'm going to use this tiny bead ceramic, which, as you can see, is super tiny beads. Super tiny beads. And these are ceramic. These are not plastic. Sorry, I drew a blank on the word. But we want to just give it some cushioning because I really don't want to ruin those beautiful points. But we still need the grit to move around. I could probably have used the small ceramic media, but I'm going to experiment with this and see how it works. Normally I was going to just save these for a polish round, but we'll see. Now, I didn't put very much in here, but you see how much it rose the water level? That's going to make a really runny slurry. So I'm actually going to dump a little bit of this water out, and I will be right back. All right, we have a little less water now. You can see the water level's way down there. All right, we will see how this turns out. I love little experiments. You want to tighten the nut, but you don't want it so tight that it's going to make the lid pop. No leakage. So let's label this. And we're going to call it Quartz. And today, well, it went to 6090. Today's 921. There we go. So what I do after I get my stuff tumbling, okay, this is a little bit better. It's better than looking at a green cloth. What I do after I have started a new barrel or any barrels, and once I get them recharged, I take a little list here. I have a chart going, and I put on, what we're doing. I put notes, the whole thing. So it's like I will, for example, the Serape Jasper, it's a hardness 7. We started with 2 pounds of it. And it's just been in course stage. So everything that we've done in course, I hit, from August 2nd when it started to the 19th, a couple days ago, when I still recharged the barrel. I wrote down the notes of what we did, how much grit I used, if I added baking soda or not, if I had to, how much mass I've lost. And I just want to keep these notes so the next time I run this stone, I will have a starting point. I won't have to make mistakes. And I do that for every single barrel, every single stone that I tumble. And so it's a little bit of paperwork, but it really is going to help you in the long run. I'm pretty sure just about everyone that rock tumbles does some form of record keeping so that they can learn, so that they have a record of what they've tumbled, what they've, how they've done it. It helps to project how much, grit you're going to need in the future, how much do you actually use, and so you don't overbuy or underbuy. Yeah, that's kind of what we do with that. So I have 3 more barrels to choose, and I think I'm going to leave one barrel empty for the Kambaba Jasper, because I think it's going to be ready to polish next weekend. And I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for that, so we only have 2 more barrels to load. I'll be right back. All right, we're back with our last 3-pound barrel, and we're going to put Howlite, which is a MOHS hardness 3.5, so it's pretty soft stone. And it's a nice opaque white with some gray streaks in it. So that's about 2/3 full. So back with our coarse grit, we're going to want 3 tablespoons. And we're going to want 1 tablespoon, probably half a tablespoon of baking soda, and our water. There's a little high, and I'm not adding ceramic media at this point. But I do have more Howlite, so I'll add a couple more pieces. Just put it on here. Yeah, that's better. Probably add one more. And this is how we get our buckets overloaded. Okay. Put the lid on. Outer lid. Washer. Knurl nut. Test. Label. Look at how fast we're whipping through this. 60/90. Today is 9/21. This is Howlite. Okay. I'm going to write up our barrel sheets so we know what we're doing. We've got track of what we're doing. All right. On the tumbler. And that's what we're going to do for this week. We have one more small barrel that we could do something fun with. What do we want to do? What do we want to do? So what this is going to do is leave us with 11 barrels running and 1 left aside for the polish for the Kambaba Jasper on next week. So we know we're going to need 1.5. And then we can put this away so we don't have any cross-contamination. And then we can put baking soda. And now we just have to figure out what stone we're going to put in it. Let's see. Just a tiny little thing. Let's run some amethyst. Let's grab the amethyst. I'll be right back. Okay, our amethyst is extra quality, whatever that means. It's also MOHS hardness 7. So, wow, that's a great big huge chunk and will not fit and be able to tumble properly in this tiny barrel. So let's go with a little bit smaller pieces. Wow. It's pretty big. All these pieces are pretty darn large. So I'm gonna crack it for you. Let's see if I can reach that here. Now, always wear safety glasses. Always, always, always wear safety glasses when you are splitting rock. Because, for heaven's sakes, you don't want to damage your eyeballs. Okay. Alright, and we're back, and we were able to split that great big piece into two. So, we still need more. I'm going to take this one and split it. And I'm going to take this one and split it. And we'll be right back. And we're back. I wanted to show you what exactly. So we took those two big pieces and we left them relatively large. We want to get all the little breakage off. And those will fit in our barrel. They're still a little big. And then these are the pieces we cut off of it. And these are the shards. And all of these can be used for another project that I'm doing. So I will put those in a baggie and I'll hold them until I start the project. Along with these few right here. Okay. Add some water. Add some ceramic media. Oops, sorry about that. This is the large and small ceramic media. Just a little bit more. There's a couple pieces left in that box. Add just a tiny bit more water. That was probably too much. And in we go. And that's our last one. Okay, we will see these next week. And hope everything goes good. Oh. No leakage. You just have to label it and go. All right. So I hope that you enjoyed this. And if you do, please hit subscribe so that you'll know when we do another video.